are doing life and business on their terms. They break the rules. They see the opportunities. They've had the struggles, the highs and the lows, and yet they've remained focused on the goal, a life and business led by themselves on their term, their way, unapologetically, focused on their success, and most importantly, the success of those around them. We celebrate success around here because we live the big ticket life. If you're going to live a big ticket life and do business in life on your terms, you got to do big things. It's that kind of discernment, that kind of focus, that kind of forward thinking that's so important if you're going to succeed in business today. And so you unlock fortune and freedom without all the stress that normally comes along with it. The things that make your life successful so you do life and business on your terms. All right. Well, listen, my guest today is a Navy man serving in Operations Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom. He's a family man, a sales pro turned sales leader and creator of the Slaymaker Method, a globally recognized sales strategist, a motivator, cultivator, and cheerleader for success. Kyle Slaymaker, welcome to the show.
I think I found my new hype man. Jeff, thank you very much. Right. Thanks for having me on.
That's right. Well, I don't know about all that, but I do my best, right? Yeah, man. So today, sales mastery for business fortune, in the pre-show, we talked about just how important sales is, and that even good companies, big companies, oftentimes kind of play amateur with this. Like they practice on paying customers, which is just a terrible way to do business. So with that, what say you?
Yeah, sales is, one of the oldest professions in the book. I mean, granted, there's definitely one other, right? But it's so interesting. I've run into fantastic salespeople. I've read book after book, created my own method, my own style. But if there's one thing I've learned is no matter how good you are, you can always be better. And that's including myself too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that constant desire and hunger to be focused on getting better is really, really important, right? Like that. Yeah. Some people, they need a slight edge, like other people need a sledgehammer in the way they're managed, in the way that they approach their profession. But like the thing that I like to talk about related to sales is, to me, like sales is like it's one aspect. It's a very important aspect. It's almost like sales is the answer to like the question of which is the most important part on a car, right? And no one can ever answer the question because they're all important. But sales and business successes is that one thing for sure that absolutely has to be on point. But there's so much else around it, because you could put the greatest salesperson ever in a company, but if their marketing message is not good, it's missing the audience, it's not in the right media, if that's right, but it points to a terrible first step, like that star is never going to get to shine. And vice versa. If you got all that other stuff really great, but you just don't value the people your customers are put in front of, and you don't cultivate them, you kind of have the same problems. So like from an emotional side of this, like where do people miss out on this? Like where's the disconnect?
Well, I think there's two major disconnects. And you already touched on one of them with, making sure that you value the people you're putting in front of your customers. And I think that's a fantastic way to put it. If you don't value your sales team, if you don't truly value your sales team, they're not going to feel motivated, right? And this is kind of leadership 101 when you think about it. You want to make sure that you're actually giving your team the tools necessary to succeed, whether that's enhanced training, whether that's recurring training, taking an interest in their personal lives and the actual goals that they have. That's a huge piece to the puzzle. The other piece of the puzzle is just as much about caring about the customer, right? And I'm not talking from a business owner to a customer. I'm talking about quite simply the salesperson to the customer, right? If you don't truly, genuinely care about the person you're selling to, I don't care what medium it is, you're going to leave money on the table, because that's going to come through in your sales process. If a customer feels that they're not genuinely going to be taken care of and that you don't truly care about them, you're going to get commission breath and you're going to scare most people away, or even potentially even worse, leave a lot of money on the table. You could have had it.
Right. Yeah. So a lot to unpack there. So you've obviously got your own method, right? And I don't want you to give away the candy store here on our show, but like where exactly do people, like what's the first step where they miss this, where they just get out of the gate wrong and they continue to trip up?
As far as caring about the customer, or as far as just my sales process in general?
Like sales process in general, if you were to categorize where you see people continuously fail.
So I would say that's another two-parter. The first is going to be targeting and prospecting. Yep. So few often, and you and I are known for, doing the work. So often you see people not really want to put in the work. They don't want to prospect. They don't want to door knock. They don't want to cold call. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. That is really where the bread and butter is going to be in the early stages of the process, because you want to make sure, one, you're targeting the right people. Not everybody's going to be a customer. Not everybody's going to be an ideal customer. You're not going to sell a Honda Civic to a 13-year-old, right? You're not going to sell a gun to a 5-year-old, right? They're not your ideal customers. Obviously, there's other reasons for that. But at the end of the day, you need to make sure your targeting is on point and your prospecting is planned and mapped out. Absolutely mapped out. If you say you're going to call people from 9 to 10, set yourself a goal. You're going to make 50 calls, and you're not going to stop until you hit those 50 calls. The other one, Jeff, is going to be the demand creation stage. Some people can say it's the investigation stage. Some people can call it, whatever they want, but you really need to be sure that you're creating that dynamic demand, to quote my best-selling book. How'd you like that pitch?
Hey, you're allowed to pitch here.
Good. Beautiful.
I mean, just on a side note, let's pause on dynamic demand.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but there's one thing that really kind of makes me turn my head sideways is when professed sales professionals get their panties in a bunch about being in a room where they get pitched. Like, there's a lot to study there. And I know it's a balance, but I've seen people turn away great events, great opportunity because they might be sold something. Like, this is America. Yeah. All we do is buy and sell here. That's our thing.
It's interesting. And that's not sales centric, right? And when I say sales centric, I mean, that's not like people that are in the industry centric. We're conditioned to do that. We are conditioned to shy away from sales because there's such a stigma. There's such a commission breath. Just all salespeople are going to screw me over. They're going to sell me anything
but even
I don't
sales
need.
Professionals, even people that make a living selling.
I'm guilty of it too. I'll be honest. Yeah, no, it's every time I do it, like I walk into a store, and if I'm not thinking about it, and retail is a perfect example for anybody. I don't care if you're Bill Gates all the way down to little old me. Somebody walks up, it's like without even thinking, it's nope, just looking. Nope, just looking. I don't care if I know exactly what I'm looking for and I'm looking to be sold. It's such instinct, and it's just ingrained in us that we're going to say, no, we don't want help. We don't want to be sold. So it's it's kind of ingrained in us, and it's been ingrained in us for generation after generation after generation. But I find that, the longer I spend in business, the more people I hang around that are in the upper echelons of business, they walk into certain things expecting to be pitched.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and you have to set proper expectations, right? As a salesperson, the last thing we want to do is walk into a meeting and somebody's trying to pitch us when we're thinking we're going to try to close a customer, or
Right.
somebody gives a meeting under false pretenses. So
Yeah.
as long as you can take that out, that should really minimize that.
Yeah, exactly. So we paused at dynamic demand. And then I want to circle back to, because what came up from what you just shared, I want to circle back to when people, especially like in my industry, qualify the customer. I want to pick up on that, but let's go to dynamic demand. Let's go back there.
Yeah. So dynamic demand, right? The best way to think about it is you gently guide the customer. You get the customer to realize that no matter what it is that you are selling, there is an emotional driver behind it, right? And I'm not talking surface level emotion. I'm talking you gently guide the customer. And I say gently because I don't do aggressive sales. I don't do pushiness. I don't do hard closes and stuff like that. It's just not my style. And there's a reason for that we can get into later. But let them take the journey that you're taking them on, right? So the age-old analogy is there's a flat tire. Well, why do you need to get your tire fixed? I got to get down the road. Why? Well, I got to go pick up my kid. Okay, why do you got to go pick up your kid? Well, I've got to pick him up from baseball practice. I want to make some memories with him. All of a sudden, that tire that might be at a premium price point that you thought is just going to get this customer down the road, or the customer thought was just going to get him down the road, that tire is actually going to help him create memories with his kids. Right. Okay. And that's that's a little harsher of a style than I usually do with the demand creation stage, the dynamic demand. But that's basically what it is. You want to gently guide the customer to where they realize that, they really have a premium product in front of them, and you're the person that can deliver and solve their needs on multiple levels.
Yeah. Yeah. I've lived as a child that exact example. So my dad, who loved dearly, trucker over the road, missed a lot of our childhood growing up. He had a major accident where he really questioned being a truck driver for about 6 months. So he was home, and he drew the straw to take the kid. I forget what it was, but we missed it. And my dad's idea of a second vehicle at home, because he's an over the road driver. We don't really need a second vehicle. He needed the most basic vehicle to get him from home to the yard where his truck was to go on his trips. Well, this Ford pickup truck, and I love Ford throw that out there, I'm a Ford guy. This thing would break down all the time. Well, it breaks down. I think it was like a school play or something. And I missed it. And I was so upset. And I'm like, why can't we just have a truck that works? Every time we get in this thing, it doesn't work. And it was only until that moment that my dad kind of realized, like, oh, yeah, this second vehicle, now that I am around, needs to be better. Because if he broke down,
exactly it.
If he broke down just going to the yard, he could handle it on his own. It was him that was impacted. He always left in enough time. If he got compressed in time, he could make it up, putting the hammer down, make up time, getting to that first stop, right? But like that example is very, very appropriate.
It's awesome that. Did we ever? I don't know if we ever talked about it. But my dad is an over the road driver too, owner operator.
Yeah. Yep.
I assure you, though, we never had just one vehicle. My dad had toys, and then some.
Yeah. But so I said I want to come back to qualifying the customer, and this kind of goes to that customer journey. It goes into how you get a customer. So in my industry, retail, bedding stores, furniture stores, for those that may not know who are listening, there's a phrase in the sales process that just really gets under my skin. And it's, you have to qualify your customer. And to me, in this day and age, in 2022, where the abundance of media, the abundance of opportunity to introduce your business to your customer in a multitude of ways, if they've gone through all of that and they've done the work to drive down the road, and think about what driving involves nowadays, right? You got people doing texting and cell phones and makeup and food, and we're driving faster than ever. I mean, for some people, it's like life and limb they risk to get to a business. And they've done you the honor of walking in your store. If your marketing is so bad and where you advertise and the promotions you make are so bad that you first have to qualify that person as being worthy to be in front of you, I don't think that's the way to sales success at all. And I don't think it's a sales foundation that builds a very profitable business. I think, you said about doing the work. I think the work has to be more focused on who you are, who you serve, why you exist, and why you're the choice. And when we communicate that out, right, it now really begins to make the whole conversation a lot easier. But that word qualify, like, to me, just kind of gives a salesperson who might not be the best they could be, it gives them the position to say, this person's not worth my time. Look at the car they drove in on. Look at the clothes they're wearing. Right?
Yeah.
What do you say about that?
I think you're right. I think you're right to an extent. I think that there's some industries that can definitely use qualifying leads. Again, it kind of goes back now, and I've been in your store. I'm a client.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks to good old Sweet Lou.
Right. And you weren't even in the nicer store. You were in our outlet store. Like you got the gardener's light experience.
I did get the gardener's light. Now to be fair, I did come into the main store to see Pete every now and then. So
yes,
I've seen the beautiful store.
Yes.
But certain industries, when I say qualifying, like a perfect example, I hate going back to the car thing, but in that's an industry that you should qualify in, because qualifying is more than just, okay, they're really going to buy. Qualifying is, all right, let's get your budget. Let's figure out where you need to go, and let's figure out price points. Right. So that's what I mean by qualifying. But I think you're absolutely right. In certain environments, like retail, especially in the bedding industry, I mean, I don't know anybody who just goes around looking at mattresses not wanting to buy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think you're exactly right on that. And I think there's other industries too. So yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said there. But just understand for the viewers out there that, qualifying can mean different things.
Right. But my point, I suppose, dig in on our point, because I think this is a very good part of the conversation. I think you can do a lot of the heavy lifting and like that emotional stress, that buyer seller battle that happens, right? And qualifying does the work in that battle. But I think the way you promote the way you market your business, who you are, the flag you plant in the ground in your market for what you do, what you sell, really matters and can kind of shortcut that process. It can embolden the customer to say, you know what, we are going to check out this place.
Yeah.
Because of these reasons, because they sound like they're for us. Doing that right cuts a lot of that harder work out. It's kind of, you touched on people in their careers early on. They've got to do the work, the calls, the prospecting, the emailing, the door knocking. On the other spectrum of that, if you have the budget and you're starting out and you have it might be hard unless you've got proven message, but if you let's say you have that proven message, there's a thing called magnetism where you can just flood and create media and have people be attracted.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of times as a business starts out, it's a mix of both, right? And you kind of, you do the hard work, the grunt work, the guerrilla style work, and then you hone in on those messages that become the magnetism, and then it takes over. But it only takes over if you then treat the customer right, because you've got to get those reviews,
Absolutely.
you've got to get those referrals, right? That's where it now propels. Any thoughts on that?
I think you're absolutely right. When I try to do these podcasts and these shows, I try to attack it from a business owner standpoint and an actual salesperson standpoint, right?
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. I mean, if everything else sucks, you better be ready to seriously qualify, because otherwise you're going to have people being like, I don't know what's in this store. What do we got going on here? What do you do?
Right.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, as long as you have a good, machine, right, to throw back something that you and I both love.
That's right.
It's a delicate dance, right? It really, really is a delicate dance. I often get asked, what's more important, sales or marketing? Right. And from a sales standpoint, everybody thinks I'm going to say sales is this. It's really, they're both equally important. They both play off of each other. They both go hand in hand, but they both have to operate almost separately. Right. So the end goal, obviously, for any business is sales. They want to make money. At the end of the day, you're not in business to not make money unless you're a 501c. You just want to do as much as you can to give back. But even that, you need to bring money in for.
Yeah, you got to make money. The difference in 501, difference in nonprofit is you just have to give back those monies to the cause, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So making sure that you have all the stuff necessary, all the tools given that's going to drive these people to your sales force, your sales team, is incredibly important. Absolutely important.
Yeah. So turning the corner to making our, let's say, rounding first base here on the conversation. So marketing, sales, equally important. Agree, right? That's kind of the car analogy. Which one's more important? They're both equally important. They can stand alone, but then more often they do dovetail together.
Yep.
We talked about qualifying, and just one step back on that. So in my industry, what ends up happening a lot of times is, not a lot of times, if you look at advertising, we have a fantastic sales rep for one of our vendors who I'm going to shout him out because he deserves to get shouted out. I don't know if he tunes into this or not, but Chad Lemondola, Pennsylvania guy, works for Tempur-Pedic, right? And Tempur-Pedic as a company can sometimes have really great reps and then sometimes just okay reps. And Chad's a really great rep, but he sends out what he calls a website beat or a market beat report. And I swear, it's basically all the advertising all of my peers and competitors are doing. And if you cut off the logo at the top and the address at the bottom of any of the screenshots or scans that he puts together, you would literally think it's one company. It's all the same stuff, right? It's 60% off, free gift with purchase, buy the mattress today. You'll pay off the 7-year car note you just got. You'll pay that off first before you pay off this mattress, right? 84-month, 96-month financing. It's really kind of silly in my view. But when you look at the price points that these stores advertise, a large portion of the space is sub. So the average queen retail mattress in America sold is $950. That's the average. Okay. 50% of advertising space, whether that's print media, online digital media with an image, 50% of the advertising that occupies that space is under $799. So the mountain that business owners create for their sales staff, because what they want to sell is well above $799. But they occupy so much of that first step with $199. I saw something $144. Okay. With the message of better sleep behind it. Now, it doesn't mean you need to put 2 zeros behind that and make it 14,400. But the thing I want to submit to our listeners, and I want your feedback on it, is that creating a divide that's so hard to cross for the sales team? Here we are. Our expectation is we're going to sell all of these quality tickets, right? But we're going to start out greeting the customer with $299 advertisements.
Okay, so we know that this is not your store, so I can be a little a little more cavalier, correct?
Yeah, no, this isn't what we do at all. In fact, my advertisements, we don't advertise price at all. We advertise we're going to help you wake up happy, and here's the path to get it done.
Yeah, I think I think it provides, it does a disservice to both customer and salesperson. At the end of the day, it's going to, the customer is going to think they're getting this $199 deal, and it's just not going to be what they need. Part one, which is incredibly, incredibly bad. The sales reps got to climb the mountain, like you said, to get up to that bigger ticket item. Cut out the work, cut out the middleman. If I'm gonna harken it back to Sweet Lou. Okay, my feelings on Sweet Lou. I think he's a fantastic guy. He sold me like there was no tomorrow. When I walked in there, I had a budget in mind, and I can tell you that I paid way over my budget, which my wife will tell you is very accurate for most things. Sweet Lou never asked a budget, which I thought was interesting. He asked me how I slept, what my needs are, how my back was, how I felt in the morning when I woke up, how much I spent in bed watching TV, everything. I didn't come in with a preconceived notion that I was going to get a mattress for $200. I didn't come in with a preconceived notion that I was going to have a sales rep that was going to actually go above and beyond like Sweet Lou did. And that really went a long way. And, I see Jerry Gherkins down in the comments saying relationship 100% of the time, relationship over transactional, which is really interesting because that's exactly what Sweet Lou did. Okay. How many other people out there have bought a mattress and can say that they're Facebook friends with a guy that sold him a mattress and talked to him yesterday? And I bought my mattress a few years ago. That's incredible. But if people are coming in expecting a $200 mattress and the salesperson is going to sit there and try to go up and upsell them, it's going to create that commission breath. It's absolutely going to create that commission breath. I don't want you to upsell me. I want this. I want what's in the paper. That's what you said is in the paper. Oh, there's fine print. Oh, I don't read that. I don't care about that. I want this deal that's here, $199. No, don't do that. You're doing it like fantastically. We're here to give you better sleep. We're here to make you comfortable. We're here to get you to wake up in the morning rejuvenated, ready to go. And that's exactly the route that Sweet Lou took when I've been in your store. That's exactly the route that I saw the reps at the main store take every time I was in there seeing a friend. And that's important. That relationship is important, right? You're buying something. I don't care whether you're buying a widget that doesn't even matter or you're buying a $50 million house. I don't care. You want to make sure that who you're buying from actually cares, right? It all goes back to that. It all goes back to actually caring. So yeah, I think they're definitely doing both their team a disservice and their sales rep and the customer.
Yeah, I mean, it really does create that mountain. I'm going to be a little honest and transparent here. That conversation that we just embarked on broke the internet. My computer literally just crashed. So while Kyle was speaking with you, on that note, Chris, our producer at Cast Ahead's amazing. He did the work and gave you, our listener, an amazing experience while I was panicking because that conversation just broke the internet on my side of things. But I'm sure you laid down. I caught the tail end where, yeah, how you put yourself out there matters, and to create, I'm sure you touched on it, creating that almost impossible divide is a real problem. And it just sets a business up for so much harder work to where it almost would you say it exhausts the sales team?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I touched on it while you were, my words carry a lot of weight. That's what happened.
It just busted the computer.
Just dropping bombs.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mentioned how, Sweet Lou, again, just there was no preconceived notion walking into the store on either of our ends. He just wanted to take care of me, and he did. And that's exactly what happened. I ended up spending over my budget, and I was happy to do so.
That's right.
Now, if I walk into a store and I see an ad that says $199 or $299, whatever it is, and the salesperson tries to keep going and going and going, I'm going to smell that commission breath and I'm going to bounce, because I want to do business with people that, one, genuinely want to do business with me, not my wallet. And that's the key.
Right. So let's dig into that one a little bit more. So my industry is viewed by most as very transactional, right? At least in, if you were to boil it down what's left in the pot would define, we view this customer as a one-time purchaser. There's no love on the customer before, and there's certainly, by and large, by most, no love on the customer afterwards. And there's nothing in between that says we want to build a relationship to put more furniture in your home or more bedding in your home.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what did, like, when we go into that, like, build a relationship with a customer, do business with the customer, what's that mean for you, and how do you put that into companies you work with?
Well, I mean, I can easily say that in my experience, and maybe this is just me, but the greatest reward that I can ever receive for anything that I do, any sale that I make, any company that I work with, is them referring somebody to me. And I think that, I mean, that just means the world to me, because that shows that they had such a good experience with me. They trust me. They trust me so much that they're going to put their name and credibility on the line to bring business to me and recommend me. And to me, that's massive. That is absolutely massive. I don't care who it is. It means the world to me.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
On that note, and then maybe you can add on to this. I think that the slack factor, the true test of a good business, is how many referrals are you getting and how many reviews are you getting.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like you can have tremendous top line numbers, and if that's your thing, that's great. Like, more successful men than I have come through my industry and had bigger dollar success. But from a foundational, impervious to competition standpoint, there's few that are on the level by which we operate in this, in this definition of things. Getting those referrals and getting those reviews are, I mean, when somebody takes the time out we get reviews online, we get reviews mailed back. Like, people fill out a paper, put it in an envelope, they put their own stamp on it and mail it back. And we actually get 2 to 3 times more of those than we do the online ones.
It's amazing.
Like, I've got whole books of them now, right? So when I say few are on that level, I mean, seriously, put me to the test and show me another business, really most any business, that has the proof like this. And then the referral machine that perpetuates the business, that goes back to what I talked about earlier. Like, you can do the hard work and you should always be doing the work, but then that magnetism comes into play, and that is a referral mechanism, right? That is where folks like Kyle are happy to refer me. People who work with Kyle are elated to refer him. So when we talk about sales mastery to business profits, like, that's a very important function, is it not?
It is. It's a huge function of it. It's astronomical, the weight that these words can bring. I made that joke earlier about how my words had so much weight it broke your internet. But the experience that you're putting out, especially as a salesperson, and this is something that is so crucial to remember. Okay, as a salesperson, most of the time you're going to be viewed as the face of your company. And I don't care if you're an owner, entrepreneur, solopreneur, you have a sales force. I don't care. The people that are out there selling are genuinely representing your company, and that needs to be accepted, rewarded, and pushed. Okay, it needs to know that there's standards in place. You have to understand that. If you don't understand that and you don't want that, then you might want to rethink your business model. Online reviews are great. Handwritten reviews. I always loved how you do yours. Like you said, they put a stamp on it. They send it to you. That goes like that should mean the world to you. And I know it does.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that somebody's going that far out of their way in 2022 to handwrite and place a stamp on an envelope. That is massive, massive. Yep. And I take a lot of pride in all of the reviews that I get. I take it. I will have people, Jeff, that from an entrepreneur standpoint, I've helped a lot of entrepreneurs go from having a thought all the way to business launched, turning a profit, everything. I've had grown men call me just crying oh my God, I can't believe I'm making the money that I am. This business is a reality. I'm doing this. I quit my 9 to
That's
5.
awesome.
I'm the happiest I've ever been. And as a business owner who places experience and customer before commission, that means the absolute world to me. The word, in fact, right there on the screen is a review by Joe Peffer. Joe Joe hired me. He was one of my very first clients, and he's now a business partner of mine because I gave him such a good experience and we just hit it off. Yeah. So that customer experience, especially from a sales standpoint, you show them that you're more than just a commission breath, sleazy salesman. One, you're going to make more money than you ever have if you're doing it the right way. And two, they're going to be happier than they've ever been. You're going to become all of a sudden more than a salesperson. I have people that I sold cars to in my very first sales job that have hired me. I have people that I sold cars to that still reach out to me today. Yeah, and I've been in various industries since then. Yeah, and that I think speaks volumes.
So here's a question. Where does the everyday business owner, everyday salesperson, where do they get the fortitude to push past, I've got bills to pay, my neck's on the chopping block here, I'm on the cuff of hitting a bonus plan, any one of those things that come in and like just put like a pressure cooker on them? Where do people get the fortitude to say, all right, I'm going to look steely-eyed down the barrel of mortgage payments, car payments, pressure from the boss to improve. I want to hit this goal. Like, how do they put those blinders on and stay focused?
Okay, let's I'm going to go back into my military days here. So what's going to set good salespeople apart from the greatest salespeople is that drive and determination. That failure is not an option. The mission is going to get done. If you have to make 5 more phone calls a day, you have to go do it. Yeah. Right? If you, like you said, you want to put the blinders on and just go, then those blinders need to be focused on one thing, and that's going to be the end goal. Okay. Just like I was talking about dynamic demand and demand creation, Jeff, a salesperson should be thinking that way about their life too. Okay. So yeah, I want to hit this bonus plan. I want to make an extra $50,000 this year. Well, ask yourself, why do you want to make an extra $50,000? I want to put in a pool. I don't know, whatever they want to do with that extra $50,000. Well, what does that do for you? Well, it helps me spend more time at home. I can create memories with my kids. When you know that the emotional reasons that you're selling are the same emotional reasons that your customers are buying, that's going to be a flipping game changer. And anybody that's watching and knows me knows that I had to really censor myself on that one.
Well, you could have said fuck. It would have been all right.
It'll happen. Trust me. We still got a little bit. It'll happen.
But no, I mean, that was very good, right? Like, because where I was going with the question, like, what is the thing that puts that armor on, right? Like, so you strap up and you got all this stuff coming at you, but you have to still conduct yourself because you are representing the business, right? Yep. You are representing yourself. You are representing, I would hope, a core value that you're there to get your customer the very best result possible, whatever results it is that you're selling. But that armor, I love what you said, that armor can be made up of, I want memories with my kids because I want to put that pool in the backyard because they love swimming, and I can get 50% more time swimming with my kids if I got a pool here as opposed to driving a half hour to and from the local community pool, right?
Everybody wants money, but they don't realize what they really want is what the money affords them.
But when you're clear, when you're clear on that why, that's really great. That's really, I hope everybody's listening to that. That's what gives you that fortitude to like kind of get the commission breath out of your mouth and focus on that customer.
Yeah. Everybody, I don't care what the purchase is. I don't care what everybody's motivators. I got a corgi chewing on a bone back there. I can hear it through my headphones.
Yeah, my dogs are fixing to go nuts too. My wife
Yeah.
just pulled in, and so it's going to
Oh,
turn to a dog
perfect.
show here for a minute,
It's meant
and
to
then we'll
be.
move past it.
Um, yeah, Jeff, it's an interesting thing. I mean, so many people think they're in sales for the money, and let's face it, you can make a good living in sales. You can make a really, really good living in sales.
Yep.
But again, it's the greatest story. I had an aha moment last year as an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur, you work very, very, very hard, and I started taking steps back. Right, I started saying, "This is what I want to do. I want to start spending more time with the kids. I want to start working on, not in, all that other fun stuff." And then I had a month where I hit a very high revenue mark, just for a 1 month period. It was more money than I ever made in a month, and I celebrated. Right, I'm on 75 hard, so I didn't drink, but I celebrated. And the next day, the epiphany hit. It was, wow, I can step back even more now. I can spend more time with the kids. I can be
Yeah.
more present. And that's when I realized, and I said it to people that you and I both know mutually. I said, that's the reward. That's what I've been working for, not the dollar amount. The dollar amount's awesome, but it gives you so much freedom. And it's like that whether you're in sales or not. Okay. If you're an employee and you want to make as much money as you can, have the exact same motivation. Know that you want to work hard to get to your performance key indicators or your KPIs, and just understand that money is only going to do so much. Right? That money is not the motivator. It's what is behind the money. It's what the money gets you.
Yeah. I think the shift becomes when you think about moving from KPIs to KLIs, key life indicators, right? Like what's that value in your life that's really driving you? Like what's really cranking you up, making you go in the morning?
I love
right?
it.
I mean, that's really the shift that needs to happen for people. When I talked about the fortitude, so people work, they want to get the pool to spend time with their family. That's a piece of the armor for fortitude to serve your customer better, right? Because you're here for the long term. You're going to help your customer for the long term. I think what happens with a lot of sales folks, people selling, is they kind of like, I forget the cartoon, but it was like a big doofy cartoon animal that would squeeze. Was it Georgie that would squeeze the other little animal and pet it and like
the gorilla, right?
I think
wasn't he? I think so.
But we hold on so hard. But if we get clear on those key life indicators, right? We get clear on what really makes the customer tick. We focus in on really selling them our results that help them. You begin to strap on these other pieces of armor, right? Because now you've got systems, you've got things in place that you can rely upon when that new prospect, that new lead, that new opportunity comes into play. You can say, you know what, it sounds like we need to serve you in this fashion. We need to offer this path, this service, this solution, this product, right? Like I think that's where salespeople struggle. They just think, I'm going to sell something, and that becomes the death grip, right? There we go.
Wow, that's incredible.
See, this is why you work with great people.
That's fantastic.
Love it, Chris.
Oh man.
Again, I'm going to plug Chris right now. If you're looking to do a podcast, you get with Chris at Cast Ahead Productions, castahead.net, I believe it is. And Chris can put it in the comments. I don't care. I want him to, but or just reach out to me. Yep. But yeah, I mean, like it's so, again, not to belabor this point, but I think it's so very important because if you're just gripping up, you're never going to move to that next level. You're never going to get that business owner freedom.
Yeah. Let go to level up.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. It used to be. I'm not actively training now.
So was I.
Getting back on the mat. So you know what I'm talking about, right? So you're locked up in that initial go. You need control of the collar. You need control of the gi. But if you just sit there gripped up like grim death, you're going to burn out.
Oh yeah.
and you're going to be huffing and puffing, and then you find yourself in a very, very bad position.
You want to talk about what I miss?
Very
I
analogous.
fucking miss jiu-jitsu. I miss
Yeah.
BJJ so bad.
Yep.
Oh man.
Well, let's commit to each other to get back on the mats.
We should do that. Why not? Let's do it.
All right.
My wife will love to hear that.
We'll
That's how I
do it.
broke my leg a few years ago.
Yeah. But
It's
yeah,
fantastic.
I mean, so like that's another analogy if you're listening, right? Like if you're just so gripped up, you're so gripped around making that sale, that's a problem. Because you're really just boiling yourself down to transactions. You're not boiling yourself. You're not creating a business. Yeah, you're not creating a business that's filled with, happy customers, customer satisfaction. So as we rounded second base, we're standing on third base here, coming to the top of the hour. So when folks work with you, for me, it's all about experience, right? Like I put the experience into the business, how people experience their advertising. Is the marketing message something to experience? I like to often say you need to give your customers a story to behold, right? Behold, like they love it. And then a story to be told where they tell their friends, right? So I'm all about experience, from the messages you create, the way you advertise, how you advertise, where, the process in the store, the fulfillment. For you, Slaymaker Method, walk our listeners through your brilliance, what you do.
So the first thing I do is, the first thing I do, we talk about goals. Okay. We figure out where people want to be. And then just like I do in the actual sales process, we figure out what those goals are going to get them. Okay. If I'm working with an entrepreneur who wants to just go from, like I said, dream to reality, then it's an intensive project. We figure out exactly if they really want to do it, right? We make sure that what they say they want to do is something that they truly want to do. And sometimes, Jeff, that involves a pivot. Obviously everybody knows the term pivot in business anymore.
Right.
But actually I can tell you a story of what just happened this past week with a customer. She quit her 9 to 5. She was a CFO or COO, one of the two. She quit that to go into entrepreneurship and do her own thing. Within 2 weeks of working with me, she landed a 5-figure contract, a high 5-figure contract.
That's awesome.
She was blown away. But not long after that happened, she called me and she said, I think I should be doing something else. And I said, okay, all right, let's do it. If that's the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship, you can do what makes you happy. Deliver on that contract. That's for damn sure. But
yeah,
let's get you pivoted. Let's figure out where you want to go. What's going to make you the happiest? Because that's what I'm here for. I'm here. I get hired to make sure that these people are happy while they reach their goals. One of the things that I have on my contract agreements with my customers is an initial spot where they have to say, we have as much fun as possible while we do this, while we take this journey together. Yeah. I had a woman that I know she'll be happy to use for me to use her name. She's an artist, Gail Coleman. And Gail was one of my very early customers. And I said, she is a fantastic artist. I mean, world class. And I said, you need to promise me something. If you ever pick up a paintbrush and you don't feel like your heart is in it and you're not incredibly excited to pick up that paintbrush, you call me immediately, because I don't want you doing this if you're not fully having a blast. And it happened one time. We took a break and then she got back into it. She got back to work, so that's what I do. I make sure that we make these dreams a reality, but we do it in a way that is going to be fun, insanely profitable, right? As a business owner, that's important. And we also make sure that, core values and missions and stuff like that, they don't get forgotten. Right?
Yeah. So
it's so easy to sway.
So just out of curiosity, your client that left the C-suite goes, lands a nice contract. I imagine by your description, probably more money than some people make in a year.
Yep, absolutely.
So was it the meshing of mission and values that once she's like kind of out of that C-suite into the wild on her own, it's like, oh, this is what was it? That reason she walked away, or if you can't share, that's fine. I understand.
No, I don't think that it was. I think she's got a book coming out, so I don't want to release too much.
Gotcha.
She just wanted to give it a shot. She wanted to see if she could make it. I think she wanted to prove it to herself, and she did. I
Awesome.
knew. Let me tell you how much I wanted to work with this woman. Her and I had a conversation about a year and a half ago, and it was a phone call that was facilitated through her husband, who I know, and we were talking, and I kind of, I did what you have to do as a coach. Sometimes I gave her some hard truths during this conversation a year and a half ago. But I could see it. I could see it in her. You just know, as when you're a good coach, you can really get a read for people.
Yep.
You really can. And she was somebody that I desperately wanted to work with. Desperately. She had all the boxes checked. But my conversation scared her a little bit. And then I just, maintained a friendly relationship. I kept, making sure she was seeing my content, making sure that I was having conversations with her, staying friendly, because she's an awesome person. And then I followed up with her in December, and I said, "Hey, you ready? Let's do this." And she goes, "You know what? I am ready. I'm gonna fully commit. I'm gonna do this." 2 weeks later, biggest sale of her life. She's happy. 2 weeks after that, she wants to pivot. That's how life is.
Right.
But she's talented. She's phenomenally talented. I'm going to see her tonight. That's the cool thing about what I do, is I try to help everybody that I work with meet each other and just expand their network. So we're going up to film a commercial with my business partner tonight, and then she's going to be at Rockstar Connect on Thursday. So if you're there, you might meet her.
Awesome. Well, I will be there.
Oh man, the two of us in the same room together.
Yeah, watch out. We already broke the internet today. We're gonna break the room.
Yeah. Stoner Grill's gonna go down.
That's right. So as we wrap up, let's talk about doing the work. Because I put in one group, I put one of our first early interactions together about Apex. Apex is a networking mastermind that's just full of amazing people who are, really living life and business on their terms, for sure. But you asked me, you said, what's this all about? Is it really going to work? I think was the question. Or is there substance there? Does it work? And I just said something along the lines of, yes, it'll work if you put the work in. And, for me, I've never been afraid of the work. When I was an on-the-road rep, representing manufacturers, selling to other retailers, which is how I got into retail. I share this story often, and it surprises people. I had a goal every day that I was going to go out and I was going to put ink on paper for $10,000 of wholesale shipments every day. Now, I had a book of business of recurring customers, right? So that balance of door knocking, phone calls, right? Like that's what I did really, really early on. And then the establishment of the dealer base was that magnetism where we put good programs in, and it just kept, every week they would reorder because it was a program. But I never sat back and just took that in. Every day I was on the road, I wanted to write 10 grand. Yep. And I would stay out. And if I traveled overnight, I wrote more because I had expenses. So that's the level of work. That's the theory and the approach that I take. So you've done the work, obviously. I mean, I see what you're doing. It's great. Talk about sometimes you maybe wanted to stop doing the work and why.
Interesting question. So I will tell you that in my journey in entrepreneurship, I can't pinpoint a specific time where I wanted to stop doing the work. I know there were times, just times where I just didn't feel like doing shit that day.
It happens.
But I think a better analogy or example would be with Apex. I was talking to you, I was talking to Clint, I was talking to Jess, I was talking to Drewby. And finally I decided to do it. And up to that point, I thought that I had built something very big. I was in selling power. I wrote 2 best-selling books. I was labeled a disruptor in the industry by Authority Magazine when it came to sales training. I was talking to people that are just massive names in sales training. And I made decent money. And I thought, wow, I can't get any better. Look at what I've built. Look at what I've did all on my own with 0 ad spend. This is crazy.
Right.
And then I joined Apex. And I realized, which, by the way, I'm going to bring it up on air. I have to laugh that you brought me into it. And I was like, I'm going in a level above Jeff. And then that day, you jumped up above me. I was like, you got to be shitting me. All right, fine. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. It really wasn't like meant to be like, one up. It
was fantastic.
It was just kind of the way it worked.
But when I joined, Jeff, I realized that I was saying I was in the land of giants does a disservice to the giants that are in Apex.
Oh yeah.
I learned real quick that I was a nobody. I mean, you're talking people that are earning, running 9-figure businesses. It put things into perspective. And for at least a good day and a half, I was like, I should just go back to working for people. Holy shit. Like this is crazy.
Yep.
And then I went, no, Kyle, that's not how you do things. What would you do if a customer came to you and said that? You'd be ready to strangle them, right?
Yep.
So, and that's when I got out of the funk. It took a coaching call from one of my coaches, but I got out of the funk, and then I skyrocketed to the moon. I'm not at 9 figures, I'll tell you that much, but I skyrocketed. Right. And that was, it's like I said, even at no matter what level you're at, you can always be better.
Yeah.
Personally and professionally.
But the reason you saw inspiration, the reason you decided to level up and invest in yourself is because for me, I took Apex executives to my business partner, Ben. I said, look, we've got a great business, but we need to push ourselves. We need to push ourselves harder. Always. I am unrelenting in that regard of pushing harder. When we are a 12-time Reader's Choice favorite mattress store winner in our town. And it's a real award. It's not because you spend the most money in the paper. It's a real award because I spend a fraction of what I used to, and we've continued to win.
Beautiful.
There's no party. There's an email that goes out to the team, an email. And then it's like, all right, boys, this was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get back to work on 13.
Yep.
And that's the way we look at it. I mean, we consistently look to push ourselves. And again, if you're a sales pro listening to this, that's where I think that's the biggest thing you could take away from this conversation is you have to find those ways, those mechanisms, those groups to level up. And what I will say, a shout out to Apex, I'll see if you agree. Yeah, there's 9-figure people, there's 10-figure people within the groups. And here's the thing. Those people have been on this show. The culture of giving.
Yep, I know they have.
The culture of winning. The culture of seeing people succeed around you is unlike anything I've ever seen. And we should all strive to emulate that in our businesses.
It's unparalleled. It's, Apex is unlike anything I've ever seen, to be completely honest. And I have no problem giving that endorsement. And this is coming from somebody that was very iffy on doing networking masterminds and stuff like that. I mean, it just like that funk I was in. I posted that I was in a funk, and it was like the floodgates open. People that, I felt that were just, I mean, not even felt, they're worlds above me, worlds. Let's hop on a call. Let's get you out of this. Let's do what we got to do.
Yep.
I had a coach with Mike, or a call with Mike, and he was the one that was like listen, you may not like this. This is what you need to hear. Let's get you out of it. Let's figure out what's going on here. And it's invaluable. And yes, we should be doing that in life. I wish there was something around us in central Pennsylvania,
Right.
that built people up like that.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, there's not, and there needs to be. Maybe you and I can figure out how to pull that off for somebody, for people around here, for business owners. But just that
we might make that happen.
I think we might too. You like how I did that?
Yeah.
Foreshadowing, people. Foreshadowing.
Yeah. Pay close attention.
Yeah. But having that support system of people who genuinely want to see you succeed, that's the difference maker.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the difference maker. I would not be at the level where I am at today. I would not have had these past couple of months that I have had. I mean, I'll put it this way. It's February 8th, I think. And it's already a record year. That's how big it is when you have people behind your back that are truly elevating you. And that's the same level of care that I give to each and every one of my clients. And I know you do too.
Yeah. I mean, that push is important. So, I mean, really find that groove to get into, to push yourself, right? Like plug in, whether it is just a local networking group that has some accountability to it, not just looking for those leads, right? Because that's terrible, but find somebody that can give you that push. You've heard on my show, we've talked about Apex many times. You know, you can hit me up. I'll make a connection for you happily. You could hit up Kyle as well. Kyle could be that guy to push you with his methods 100%. He's a best-selling author. He's a known strategist. I love what he puts down. He can be your push. There's no doubt. As we look to wrap up, with this newfound success you have, one thing that I have been remiss, because like all the guests have been, like we could go on for hours, but I know that's not good for everybody. But as we look to wrap up, with your newfound success, you've got a charity that you're really excited about that I know is very near and dear to you. Let's talk about that as we wrap up.
Yes, let's do it. So I have, again, he started off as a client. His name's Nathan Smeltzer. Nathan is a former Marine veteran of the Iraqi war. He has beat homelessness, a criminal record, some alcohol abuse, some drug abuse. He wanted to start a center and a foundation for disabled veterans and first responders. And being a veteran myself, I've had my own struggles with PTSD for various things. I know how important that is because, you know, here the closest VA is Lebanon. And sometimes that's a hike, it's a drive. If you're homeless, how are you going to get up there?
Right.
If you don't have a car, if you don't have the faculties, how are you going to go get the care you need? Well, we're going to be providing the care that they need through the TNT Global Foundation. We are currently a 501c. So we are getting ready to open up donations probably within the next couple of weeks. We have a few properties that we're looking at. We are going to purchase right out, and we're going to make this happen. So from mental health services, physical health services, and fitness, and I'm going to be doing something that so far has not been seen in one of these centers. And I'm going to be handling business services. So I'll be helping people who want to start their own companies, entrepreneurship, sales training, doing resume writing, helping with job placement. You know, we're going to be doing it all. And
that's awesome.
We're very, very excited about it. So get ready. I'll keep everybody posted.
That's awesome. And, you know, when I say in my intro of the show, we celebrate success here. I make no bones about people leading themselves for success, because when folks like Kyle are successful, and one on February 8th, and it is the 8th, already at record-breaking years of revenue, what happens is things like the TNT Global Foundation happen.
Yep.
Okay. Since I've been on this call, I've had a local charity off the streets call. When they call, they need beds. And when they need beds, we give beds. And, you know, when you see people celebrating their success, they're doing it. Folks like Kyle and I are doing it because it's an accountability step for us. The people who are in our corner, want to see it happen. But they also want to see us do things like what Kyle's doing with TNT. This past weekend, our Apex group had its live event. One of the members created a new coaching product. I forget the exact details, and it was meant to kind of beta something out for another level in his services. And it was a small thing, but he gave 100% of that coaching test revenue, $6,234. And I think when you said Mike Claudio is who you're referring to, right?
Yep.
$6,234, I believe was the number, was given to Mike's charity at Champion Shoes, which gives a new pair of cool sneakers and shoes to kids and opens their world up and lets them believe that they can do anything.
Love it.
Okay.
Love it. Mike's an awesome guy.
Yeah. So like, I love when people, like when Kyle creates and brings together, helps somebody out, uses their experience to form what is your TNT, right? Like,
yep.
It's okay to celebrate success, because you should know, listening, a lot of times that comes with immense accountability and immense goodwill to give back. And it doesn't often get posted as much as the successes, because we're not doing it for that reason. You know, like I don't go and make a Facebook post every time we give mattresses to Off the Streets. I don't do that.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I don't think we do it for recognition.
No,
I think
we don't.
just do it because it's the right thing to do, and we have the resources available to do it. You know,
right.
it's I don't want to say it's a moral obligation, because let's face it, there's a lot of people out there that don't view themselves as having that moral obligation. But people like you, myself, and many others in Central Pennsylvania and beyond,
yep.
It's just the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, people have helped us. We need to help back.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, I've got a saying, I said it yesterday on our Lancaster Connects podcast show that we do for the retail store, for the community. It's about moving from success to significance, making connections. And right on the show, two people connected into that charity, and, you know, that charity's effort and mission was moved forward by that show. I don't care that we don't get thousands of downloads on the podcast. That's not the point.
Yeah.
The point of that show is to highlight our community. And we're doing great work in doing that. So I just wanted to touch on that, because when you see people celebrate success, it's the reason I'm unapologetic in celebrating Kyle's success, celebrating the success of all of our guests, because good things like that happen in the background. So Kyle, man, this has been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
People have been seeing on the show, they've been seeing, you know, your books and your website and where to get your books and things like that. But for people listening to audio, why don't you just shout out where and how people can connect with you?
Absolutely. So for my books, both are available on Amazon. So You Think You Can Sell and Creating Dynamic Demand. I can be found on Facebook. That is obviously the easiest way to get a hold of me. Just search Kyle Slaymaker, and you'll see a picture of me with my incredibly beautiful and amazing wife, my muse, Elizabeth. She's the gorgeous blonde next to the, you know, fat slob that's sitting next to her in the picture. But listen, if anybody wants to reach out and get a hold of me, just shoot me a private message. You can find my phone number on the website. I'm down to earth. I'll talk to anybody that wants to talk. So feel free to get a hold of me, guys. And thank you so much for listening. Jeff, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for joining. Folks, this was really a pleasure. Thank you for tuning in. Please connect with Kyle if you need that push. He can certainly be one of those people to get you to that next level. And I hope you would. All right. Everybody, this has been another show, Big Ticket Life. Kyle, thanks for joining, man. Thank you for your service. And we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
If you're going to live a big ticket life and do business in life on your terms, you got to do big things. it's that kind of discernment, that kind of focus, that kind of forward thinking that's so important if you're going to succeed in business today. And so you unlock fortune and freedom without all the stress that normally comes along with it. The things that make your life successful so you do life and business on your terms.